Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the one, the only, and welcome to ERA Sunday Championship. It's round 2, and we at the beautiful circuit located in America and not covered in ice today. Welcome to Watkins, Glen, as this 3.9 kilometer circuit is a little bit on the challenging side. 11 corners, lots of undulations and change of camber, and opened in 1956 as a real full circuit and not just part of a street circuit. It got its own one in 1956. Can you believe it? This was actually a normal road that everyone used to race. Now, everyone's going to be coming off the start-finish line, aiming towards the 90, which is hard braking zone into turn 1. Charge their way through to the S's before they make their way to the inner loop. That's hard on the brakes. A quick right, quick left, a quick left, and a quick right again as you make your way down the chute, heading to toe. In through heel and make your way through the boot before you get to the final corner and flat on the gas. Now, we're going to head down to qualifying as our golds have just hit the circuit. And with that being said, and our golds ready to go, it's going to be an interesting fight nonetheless. And a massive welcome to everyone. Rune Heineke going and putting a shout out before he heads out onto the circuit a little bit later. And also we got Antonio Gamble just saying, how's it to the world from the Griffin Sim Racing. Now, Cedric Muir currently out on circuit, going to be giving everything he's got. Has got Byron Cox hoping to make a little bit more of an impact here tonight in the Audi R8. It's beautiful to see the Audi R8s coming back in full flight. Christoph Rolotsky for Los Pantos Hermanos is going to be also on a hard charge to move his way up through the order. Ricky Beckler, keep an eye on this driver. Ricky coming in and making his name widely known in the ERA for the Griffin Sim Racing team, and has proven to be a solid fight for the rest of our field. Cedric Muir currently puts a fast lap time on the board. That gets beaten up by Ricky with a 144.9. Finn the Gamble with a 145.4. Ron Cox slips into third. Chris Heineke goes and ensures his Nissan GTR with a 146.2 gets in as well. So as our golds, that is the red borders, make their way around, setting their lap times. This is the first flyby lap times for the drivers. They got to make sure that it's going to be an absolutely quick one of note. And that also being said, we're getting confirmation that Ricky Bucker would be... This is his first race under the Griffin Sim Racing team's name. So newly signed to the Griffin Sim Racing team, and a welcome to addition to their team after putting in a stellar effort in round 1. That being said, we've also got the likes of Paulus Scaleris, who's out there from BMW Italy, going and having a bit of fun as well. So you can see that our drivers coming in from around the world looking to have a bit of fun. David Young out on circuit, and Hayter back on track with the Mustang, hoping to have a much better season than what he had previously. Chris out on the circuit, 36th. At the moment, yet to put a time on the board to join his fellow gold drivers, but it's Nicholas Porras puts himself up in first place with the martini-colored Porsche, throwback to old times and looking to reclaim some of that former glory, as at the moment Phil Gamble getting a proper run for the 2ID team, showing that do not count out the 2ID. They're here to fight and go. But Bron Cox goes across for the Sun Possum Racing, trying to make his way through the South African. Rich Van Eed hoping to make an impact as well in the sim racing scene before he starts in the real world racing, and hoping to carry some of the momentum through. Aaron Shergill all the way out from Canada, going and putting in some proper times. He's in 10th place at the moment, 0.9 up on the rest of the field, and expect to see Aaron at the top of the board. He's done it once before here at Watkins Glen. Can he do it again? As he puts his boot down, Lewis Knight comes in with a 144.8, and Aaron going to come across with a 144.6, getting himself right to the top of the board. ahead of Lewis Knight. Ricky hoping to carry a bit of that shake and bake to put himself up into first place, but holds on to third at the moment with Christoph Rolotsky in fourth. David Young in sixth, Nico Lawrence in seventh, Finn Gamble followed by Finn Van Hollen. They've only got 3 minutes left of their qualifying session for their gold division, and then we'll be releasing the platinums out onto the circuit to see what they can do. Nicholas Porras hoping to move up from 11th and wants to be at the top. Ulrich de Jager a little bit further down with Cedric Muir and Paulus also down at the bottom at the moment, just waiting, biding his time, hoping to get a little bit more pace in that BMW M4 GT3. It's not the Evo, it's the original. Ricky comes across the line, and it's a good 144.4. Launches his way up to the top of the board. Aaron gonna look to try and fire back. Unfortunately, down on his last lap time. Lewis Knight up 0.2 of his time. Christoph Rolotsky's 0.1. Bron Cox up 1. And David Young, who's coming around the final corner, 0.1 up. Can he get into the top 5? David puts the hammer down. He's down to 7th. Bron moves up to 6th. And he launches himself up into 4th place, getting himself right up to the top. Bron needs to try and figure out what he can do. And like a League of Legends character, count on Brom and always be behind the shield. Let's see if Brom can lead the charge in through middle lane. Well, he's going to try and keep it all together for the Stunt Possum Racing team. Rich Van Eed and Finn Van Hollen up 0.2 as they're trying to get that little bit more pace. 1 minute and 40 seconds to go. Each of the drivers giving it that final push to get across the line for the golds, wanting to be at the top. Ricky, 144.4, has definitely gotten the grid to look up and say, all right, we've got something here. Let's see what we can do. As the grip is going to be a little bit more wild for our drivers. Going to be a little bit on the downside as it's 29 degrees track temperature, but it is going to be a difficult one because we're actually between days for this weekend to make it a little bit more fun. Finley Gamble up into 6th place, going and coming across the line. Unfortunately, he's only got one more lap to try and get it done and dusted. One wheel off, and that is him out of the running. Christoph Rolotsky going out a little bit wide with McLaren, hoping that he can carry some of the momentum at the moment. But it's Finn Van Hollen who boots it across the line up into 6th with his time of 1:45.027 ahead of Finley Gamble at the moment. Finley Gamble making it all the way through the inner loop without too much of a problem. 0.3 up. Hayter into 10th. Brom into 9th. Rich Van Eed down in 12th position, still trying to put the hammer down. Christoph Rolotsky rounding the final corner, runs it right to the barrier. It is 0.2 up. Is this going to be enough to move him up into the top 3? And he's across the line, unfortunately, not able to improve a 1:44.987 and narrowly just missing out his fastest lap time. Ricky trying to get a little bit more pace underneath him, unfortunately down on his last sector. So is Finley Gamble, but we have been given confirmation that it's time for our Platinum Division to head out onto the circuit and see what they can do. So our golds will be moving off the circuit, and it's time for our Platinums, essentially the Pro-Ams that are currently out on track. And it's a real jar all the way out from France. Keep an eye on the 488 Ferrari. It's absolutely lightning quick, and he's hoping to put himself right on to the top. Ison Domingo out there for the Project Vapor team, going and bouncing between sims at the moment, but is stuck with the BMW brand, saying it hasn't let him down. He's got Paul the Wall Fenter of the Logistical Nightmare Racing team, hoping to get a little bit more pace underneath him. The Logistical Nightmare Racing team currently going through quite a bit of work on their team side, with Paul just going and saying, right, let's try and get our stars aligned here. Let's make sure we can move forward. Martin Spritzer out on track. The Track Tool team looking to have a bit of fun out here And unfortunately, Christian Fengler, his teammate, will not be joining him out on circuit tonight, but he's looking to make it work in his favor. Lucas Collab from the ERA Racing Team, a driver that has no quit and will get it to the end. Lucas, going to be that driver to keep an eye out all season long. Neil Cabal, also a great run in round one. He's hoping that the Guardian Angel Mustang will keep up the pace and make it work out for him. Henry Platt out there in the Team Parker Racing. He's in the big Bentley, hoping for it to come into play. And for all the Apex colors on the car, he's hoping to make it work out in his favor. Flow Scud, Los Pontos Hermanos, a bit of a windscreen wiper going absolutely mad just to go and make sure that there's no moisture for him to get caught out. No. George Russell said, is it raining? Oh, wait, that's a sweat. I think Flo has got the same thing for the little duck. Freddie Morelli, the Wise Racing Los Pontos Hermanos, a little bit down the order, hoping that he can get a little bit more pace underneath him and running the colors just as a tribute to the Rexy car that was racing in the Daytona 24. Andre Sorodia out there in the Audi R8 GT3, hoping to make this Audi work out in his favor, really put the hammer down. David Roth, the Fear the Bones driver in the Honda NSX, looking to carry some of the momentum through that we've seen this car able to get up through the order with our multiple champion of Christoph. So, as times are starting to get down, it's 6 minutes of qualifying for our Platinum Division. Let's see what they can do. A 144.4 to beat, set by Ricky. Aaron with a 144.6 with Finley Gamble, a 144.7. Lewis Knight, a 144.8. Christopher, 144.9. As the 144s is where you need to be. Let's see if our Platinums have enough in the bag to make it happen. And it's going to start with a real jar into the wall just to go and cream that one. Unfortunately, a bit of damage to the car. He does move up into 5th ahead of Isam Domingo. Henry Platt, a little bit further down, is in 10th position and hoping to make it work out in his favor at the moment. And I've got to say, Henry Platt, this is his first time in ERA, if I remember correctly. Coming in from the likes of Omnius Gaming, which was a esports organization here in South Africa. Been one of the gearheads from there. Later moved on into Apex, and it seems like the Team Parker Racing is going to be making a bit of an impact here. So Henry Platt hoping to make it work out in his favor as Davey outing. Neil Cabal out there in 13th with Lucas Collab down in 16th, but Ricky yet to be taken off the board. Isam Domingo hoping to carry the momentum through. David Roth up into 10th position as he charges behind one of the Fear the Bones drivers in the Mustang. He's hoping to keep it all in check at the moment. Question is, can they carry the momentum? Milestone hoping to get a great run in the Ferrari 296. And he's going to be hoping to really dig deep in this one. Paul Fenter unable to put a time on the board as yet. Needs to really dial it up if he wants to get himself into the top 10 and see where he goes. But it's Isam Domingo out of the final corner. 0.5 quickest. Is this going to be enough to put him in first? And Isam Domingo gets himself into second place with a 144.407. Just narrowly behind Ricky at the moment. But he is definitely showing a bit of force out here as the tires start to warm up. David Roth hoping to get a little bit more pace underneath him, along with Henry Platt at the moment, wanting to dial it up. Lucas Collab 0.3 of a second. Andre Sorodio is currently 0.1 up as he carves his way up through the S's and heads towards the inner loop at a rate of knots. Each of the drivers trying to figure out what little bit more pace they can get out of these cars. Platt up into 14th. Roth down in 11th at the moment, but it's 0.4 up. This is going to be enough to get him into the top 10, and he's got the tow from the Mustang. Can he make it work out in his favor? Across the line and up into first place. A 144.3 for David Roth. He is going to be absolutely smiling ear to ear on that one. And Little Toe wasn't too bad as well to get him all the way through. Miles Stone up into 6th place. Royal Jar down into 10th. Mon Spritzer at the moment is currently down in 16th, hoping to get a little bit more drive. Simon Cussat, who's been utilizing this big Bentley for a long time, is hoping to get into the 144s as well. He's 145.4 on his last lap. Sorodio trying to get a little bit more pace underneath him, but it's Milestone to keep an eye out for at the moment. 0.3 quickest, and he's going to make sure that he will go and battle it out. And if you want to know about your favorite drivers, and I'm going to take a look and see that we do have one big supporter coming in for Andre Sorodio out there in the Audi R8, currently lying in 26th at the moment with 145.417 as his best lap time. Sorodio just not able to find the pace underneath him as yet, but you will be able to keep track of the drivers with the timing board on the left-hand side. We're going to try and catch as many of the battles as possible, but Miles Stone on a proper charge. Can Miles go the extra mile? He's going to have to push it that little bit more. 0.6 up over everyone. Is this going to get him into 1st place and beat up David Roth? He comes across the line. A 144 dead for Miles Stone. Gets himself into 1st. David Roth down into 2nd place. But what a pace coming out of that 296. A V6 with an asthma pump attached to it, managing to get an incredible time here at Watkins Glen. Mon Spritzer out there in the BMW, pushing a little bit harder at the moment. 0.2 up, trying everything he can. Freddie Morelli, a little bit further down the order in 32nd position at the moment. Still yet to get into the 144s. The Los Pantos Hermanos Wise Racing digging deep at the moment. 0.1 up for the Porsche 991 GT3, and will boot it across the line. Moves up into 31st ahead of Flo Scub, but just not enough in the tank. 1 minute to go for the qualifying session. Mon Spritzer, Henry Platt still out on circuit. Miles Stone, Issam Domingo, Skurt Reynolds, and Royal Jar are still putting some times in. Chris Wall, a late entry for him, but 144.8 to get him out on the board. Daniel Mutsuma for the proper racing, also not having the best of runs. He's only done 2 laps at the moment. This is going to be a hard charge for him. Currently 0.2 up in the McLaren. Can the proper racing get it to work in his favor? Boots it across the line and moves up into 11th position. Martin will be coming across the line, gets himself up into 8th. Royal Jar a little bit further down, hoping to make it work out in his favor. So the drivers going and digging deep at the moment to figure out that little bit more of a pace and to ensure they stand at the top here at Watkins Glen. It's the 2nd round of the ERA Sunday Championship, and you want to make sure that you get every single point. Skurt Reynolds for the Global Peace car, and this is definitely a bit of an interesting one to see as Reynolds, it went and helped out David Roth with a bit of a tow. Let's see if he can keep it going to ensure he holds on to 2nd place. And with all the drivers now starting to pull into the pits, we're going to be releasing our platinum, diamond drivers. Got to get that one right. Our diamonds. This is our pro division. This is the fast of the fast. They'll be heading out on circuit. Ruben Heineke currently out on track. Sean Skitter for Logistical Nightmare Racing heads on to the circuit, also known as Skitty for some of those, and you can be forgiven for thinking Skitty, the Pokemon that's out there. Let's say not quite the way you want to go and do things. And we've got Mahaif Musa on with Jason Beam. There was lots and lots of discussion about Jason going and jumping in behind, and Rafa as well, as they are currently waiting to have some fun. Darius back out on circuit, looking to push a little bit more in the BMW and hoping that it's going to be a much better time this season round. Stephen Milano James for the APX GP car hoping to also claw his way back up through the order. Jason Farmer, the Griffin Sim Racing team, will be going and putting the hammer down. We're waiting for Ernest Limburgs to head out onto the circuit, but we're already starting to see drivers getting themselves warmed up and ready to go. 144 dead to beat. That was set by Milestone. 144.4 was Ricky with his bit of pace. Now let's see what our Diamonds can do as we wait to see the drivers come across the line and get their first times on the board. Sean Skitter going a little bit deeper into the corner, trying to make it work. Christoph Peterson, our multiple time champion, is yet to head out on the circuit with Ernest Limburgs. Mike's mostly giving himself a little bit of breathing room at the moment for the Project Vapor team. A beautiful silver on the side of the car just to make sure that he gets that little bit more pace underneath him and ready to go. Jason Beebe making his way through the inner loop, really bouncing around. Oh, catches that rear end on the way through as the Aston Martin started kicking up underneath him, and Jason really trying to reel in to get that Garage 59 Aston Martin to cooperate with the pace that he needs to make it work out in his favor. So drivers are going to be digging deep, trying to make it work and see where it goes. Sean Skitter carves his way through, currently 0.4 up on his last lap time, 159.4 when he started his initial lap. Can he get it all the way down to the 144 mark? And that is the one to keep an eye out for as Limburgs hits the circuit. And we did see Limburgs having a great fight to charge through to the front in round one. Unfortunately, the rear stepping out on him was just the Achilles that took him out of the fight. Rafa is going to be one to keep an eye out for, a new name to the grid that in round one showed some serious pace underneath him to really fight it out with the top three, and our Diamonds are keeping a very good look at the front. Jason Farmer up into second place, well, Jason Beam is up into fifth at the moment. The two of our Diamonds gone and put themselves up towards top. Ron Heineke is up into 8th position as he goes and hopes to dig in a little bit deeper. He was sitting out in the virtual grandstands with you guys a little bit earlier on and putting in a bit of support. It's always good to see everyone joining in from the virtual grandstands. Massive welcome to you all, and massive welcome. And we got Nick Devil along with TAG and Antonio Gamble all jumping in and saying hello. And it's good to see you guys out there in the virtual grandstands here at ERA, out at Watkins Glen, and looking to enjoy some great racing. Round 2 of season 17. And please do make sure you hit that subscribe along with the bell notification icon, because this year we're on the goal, we're on the charge, we're aiming for 500 subscribers here at ERA before the end of the year, as this channel has been pushing to give you all the action that you need, from endurance racing to sprint racing. We got it all here at ERA. So Jason Farmer making his way through, losing out to Rafa Souza up into second place at number 2. Nissan GTR hoping to make it work, but here comes Jason Beam, 0.4 of a second, rounding the final corner. Can Beam carry it all the way through to the line? 0.3 up. Is it going to be enough to move Milestone? Not quite. Jumps up in second place, 0.02 off Milestone. Jason Beam not having a good time out there. Lost that little bit of pace as the car started to pick up a little bit of slide. He had to work it a little bit harder. He's ahead. And now it's going to be Ernest Limburgs with a 143.9 coming in and firing on all cylinders. That is going to be a proper time on the board for him. Now, Ernest Limburgs has missed out the championship narrowly every single time, and now he's looking to really put the pressure back in, and especially against his teammate Christoph Peterson, who I don't think has put a time on the board except for now. And Christoph going and put himself on the board with a 143.5. Talk about the champion coming back on all cylinders. And that Mercedes up into first place, 143.5 ahead of Ernest Limburg's 143.9. Miles down into third, Sean Skitter into fourth, Jason Beam and Stephen Milano James a little bit further down the order from where they wanted to be. Rafa Souza up into seventh. Eighth is Jason Farmer along with Scott Reynolds, David Roth, all trying to get that little bit of pace underneath him. Maith Musa pushing for last 3 minutes at the moment. It has got Darius all over to get that pace, who's 0.4 up. Ruan Heineke 0.1 up, along with Michael Castro, who is 0.1 up as he carved his way through the S's and heading towards the inner loop. Our Diamonds giving it that last little bit of effort to see whether they can get it across the line. Limburg's down into third place. Jason up into second. But Limburg's is going to come firing back. 0.2 up. Is this going to be enough to retake that front row? Giving it everything he's got down to the wire. And across the line up into second place with a 143.6. Jason Beam, a 143.8. So this is going to be an interesting one as they're firing on all cylinders tonight to make sure they can really put the effort in. Stephen Malone James across the line moves himself up into fifth. Ahead of Miles Stone, Sean Skitter down into seventh. Maith Musa comes across the line. He's in eighth place at the moment. 2 minutes left on the clock. And is going to be battling it out. So, car number 15, for anyone that does want to know, and I know there is someone that wanting to know, is actually his real name is Andre Sorodio, and he races for Project Vapor. He is out there a little bit further down in 32nd position, so keep an eye out for him. And his teammates, like Maith Musa, who is in the 54 car, will be pushing that a little bit harder. So keep an eye on it. And the number 15 car is Andre Sorodio. I hope I answered that question for you, and looking forward to seeing you out in the grandstands a little bit more, putting in that extra bit of effort. Rafa Souza up into second place ahead of Ernest Limburgs, and will be starting on the front row for now. But let's see, Ruan Heineke looking to take the fight to the front. In 12th position at the moment, once again to that top 10. He has to beat out Darius's 144.07, and will be hoping to carry that momentum through. Michael Castro also out on circuit, not quite getting the time he wants. Here comes Heineke, 0.3 of a second, and it will be a good one. Right behind him, Ernest Limburg's going and giving a little bit of a chase, and Limburg's across the line, gets himself into second, narrowly missed out first place. Take a look at that, 100th of a second. He went and finished up onto the front row. But 45 seconds to go. Jason Beam, Stephen Milano James, who comes across the line, unfortunately not able to move up. Sean Skitter in pit lane. Musa comes across the line. He's going to be in 10th position. Castro still pushing that a little bit harder. You can see a little bit of a tribute to the Rexy colours. Hopefully not going to have the Daytona missing smile like we saw Rexy have. And will continue to keep all the bodywork on to see it through to the line. But Michael Castro coming out towards our final sector, 0.1 up. A 144.5 was his best lap time. Let's see if he can bring it down to a 144.4 as he wants to get into the top 10. Rounding the final corner, up and wide, close to the wall, boots it towards the line. Is it going to be enough for him? Unfortunately not. He's going to be a little bit down the order. So our drivers needing to work that little bit harder here at Watkins Glen as we got to be moving over to our race. It's a 1 hour race and with a mandatory pit stop, but we did talk about throwing in a little bit of spanner in the works. They qualified on the sim on a Friday. On a Saturday is the next one, which means grip levels gone. You put it all down on the Friday, you went to sleep, you come back on the Saturday, and it's all gone. It's just to make things a little bit more interesting to really get that final push around the circuit. This is round 2 of the ERA Sunday Championship. It is a 3.9 kilometer circuit, so drivers will need to dig that little bit deeper to see where they're going to go. 11 corners to go and handle, but most of the corners you want to keep an eye out for is turn 1, which is the 90s. The inner loop is going to be the heartbreaking zone you want to keep an eye on as well, along with the hard braking zone into toe, and from the heel all the way through. It's going to be follow the leader till the final corner. A long right-hander, which you got to keep tight to the right to get into pit lane, but you are going to be slowing down on the apex of the corner, which is going to be a little bit of a tricky one. So the driver's going to have to really be light on their feet to ensure that they don't catch a wall, that they can carry on pushing and ensure that they stick their way to the line. This is going to be an exciting one. This is going to be a fun one. This is server 1. And with that being said, we also do have our server 2 that is currently running at the same time. And that is for more of our AM class to be having a bit of fun out on circuit. We're really looking forward to seeing what they can do. The championship is going to be quite a lively one, folks. So get ready for some incredible action here at Watkins Glen, here at ERA, as we keep our push to get to the top. And like we said, we're on the run to get to 500 subscribers out on this YouTube channel as well. That being said, I'm sure you're sick and tired of going and looking at the circuit. You're looking at all the fun. Let's head down to the track. And there we go on the circuit. But if you're just joining us for the first time, you're not quite sure what's happening, and you're seeing those penalties coming across. Why is there penalties? Well, let's explain that to you, because here in ERA, we don't like to see people just running off into the distance and really going and just being that top dog that can't be catched. Now, we want you to think outside the box and you utilize your unique skills to get yourself towards the top. So we have success penalties. This means that we go and put a time penalty, which you serve on your pit stop. It slows the pit stop down and then gets you up towards the top. You're going to have to think a little bit more on when your strategies are happening, especially with one mandatory pit stop an hour's race, and this go through it. So, if you came in first place in your class, you get 15 seconds. Second place is 10 seconds. And third is 5 seconds. As we see Christoph Peterson, Ernest Lindbergs, and likes of Rafa Sosa getting that 15, 10, 5. But if you go and take a look at our separate classes, like Ricky, who has done a great job on his debut outing, got a 15 second. He's going to have to contend with that. While Lewis Knight, who finished third, has got a 5 second. Neil Cabal has got 15 seconds he needs to do after his victory in round 1, with Daniel Mutsua in second place, getting that 10 second penalty. A little bit further down through the field, more and more drivers starting to pick up their penalties, but, well, their success penalties. Let's talk about that one. That's success penalties, but we got 45 cars on the grid here tonight. And a hello to everyone out in the virtual grandstands. If you're just joining us, a massive welcome to you all. I see we got Bago coming in and saying how's it as well. And it's good to see that everyone coming to enjoy the fun, to really support the friends and teams, and also for a little bit of chaos, because why not? Here at ERA, we like to see all the exciting times. We like to see everyone going and stepping forward to see what is going to be the hard press run. Now, Christoph Peterson is currently an 8-time champion. He's yet to be defeated. He took the victory in round 1, but had a difficult time at the start at Silverstone, because we did see Ernest Lindbergs take the fight to him. Now, are we going to see the same thing along with Jason Beam and Rafa right behind them, pushing as hard as they can? Two drivers that Christoph has turned around and said he's a bit nervous of because of their pace. But do not count out some running names that have been around for quite some time. Jason Farmer, Stephen Lorna, James have also shown their hand to stay at the front end of the pack, and their consistency to stay in for the fight. All the drivers currently waiting for the timer to run out, and they will drop the cars down onto the circuit, getting those time warmers off and getting ready to rock and roll, as we will be kicking off in the next 10 seconds with our formation lap around the circuit. This is going to be a great one. This is going to be exciting. This is ERA, and we are now getting to rolling on our pace lap, and we will start taking a look through our grid here at ERA for round 2 of the championship. And I gotta say, I'm really, really looking forward to seeing who's going to be at the top of the order come the end of the hour. And let's take a look at the ERA Sunday Championship. This is going to be the likes of Christoph, who will be at the top of the board and hoping to stand at the top a little bit more. But the question is, can he push that a little bit harder? Can he really dive in to carry the pace through the entirety of this race? He's got Ernest Lindbergh's in second place, and will be hoping to make him work out in his favor. Rafa Sosa a little further down in third. Jason Bean in fourth, along with Jason Farmer. He's hoping he can get a little bit more drive underneath him. And stay in for the run, Stephen Leonard James a little bit further down, with Milestone, short skitter, Bern Heineke in 9th position, Mahath Musa in 10th, Darius a little bit further down in 11th, a little bit further down from him, Scott Reynolds, David Roth, Ricky Buckler a little bit further down, and Isam Domingo running out on top 15. Royal John, Michael Castro, Aaron Shergill, along with Mon Spritzer, who's going to be starting in the pits, so back of the grid for him. Finley Gamble in 20th, Henry Platt, along with Chris Wall, Neil Cabal, Daniel Mutzma, Lewis Knight, Christoph Orlotsky, Paul Fenter, David Young, and Finn Holland in 29th. Rounding out our top 30 is going to be Lucas Collin. Ron Cox starting from pit lane as well. That means Andres Rodeo is going to be next up the road to get that little bit more of a pace, with Nicholas Boras going and getting a little bit more of a run as well. Hayter, Lucasen, Nico Lawrence, Simon Cusset, Richard Van Heed a little bit further up the road, Chris Heineke, Rodrigo Calgera in 38, 39, Cedric Muir, Freddie Morelli, Ulrich Diaga, Flo Scub, and Paula Scalaris going to be rounding out our pack. Spritzer and Cox starting at the back of the field. Interesting run on their part to go and decide they're going to wait that little bit. They're going to see a little bit further down the order. Not often we get to see it, but this does provide two ways. Our drivers can go and wait for if any incidents happen. That could be in turn 1 to turn 3, but at the same time, after qualifying so well, they have to fight through the field, and it's not going to be an easy one, because Mon Spritzer and Bron Cox, lying in 44th and 45th position, will get their tyres nice and cold before they can even get going to attack the rest of the 43 car field. Entering the final, and it is going to be the front row, the lineup of note. Our champion, Christoph Peterson, battling out against Ernest Lindbergh's, his long-term rival and teammate. I'm going to be finding out Rafa Sosa, Jason Beam, Jason Farmer, Stephen Malone, James, all ready to go as we line up 70 kilometers an hour, back the field up. Keep an eye to the lights as we get ready to round the final corner. Folks on the green, keep an eye on Jim. He's going to be on the lights. Lights on, lights on, lights on here at Watkins Glen. Lights off, and we are racing for round 2 as they charge down towards turn 1. Christoph defends the middle, and it's Ernest Lindbergh's around the outside. Rafa immediately holds the inside line. Jason Beam, Jason Farmer go after him. Stephen Milano, James, as the rest of the field all coming through. Doesn't look like there has been any major runs, as only a little bit of shoulder ramping from each of the cars as they charge through the S's. Oh, big impact in behind as we talk about that. Well, unfortunately, we saw it, and that might have been Ulrich Diaga that caught the wall. That was actually Simon Kusat that caught the wall. Oh, there it is. Unfortunately, another one getting involved in a bit of a knock. Ruud Heineke got a clip in there. Michael Castro as well. Finley Gamble got caught, the 440 of Simon Kusat getting himself going. Daniel Mutsuma got caught out, and Chris Wall gives him a bit of a nudge on the inside. as they continue their way through. So a little bit of argy-bargy coming in. Chris Wall swipes across the nose of Daniel Mutsma, goes up on the inside, and Chris Wall goes out very, very wide, loses out to the McLaren. Lucas Collin going in, getting a loss of position as Lewis Knight gets a little bit of run on him as we go back towards the top end of the field. But man, oh man, what on earth happened for our drivers to go all over the show? And let's see if we can try and get a little bit of an idea. So this is off the headicam. We keep an eye. This is a real Jaws view. He is in the Ferrari 488, stuck on the outside through the inner loop, trying to get it all together. Little bit of a moment, but we can see how it's just a little bit of a clip, and unfortunately it just spiraled all the way down as well. So drivers now running line astern. Limburg's down into third place as Rafa up into second. Jason Beam has got Jason Farmer on the back of him. It's the JJs in fourth and fifth place. Sean Skitter trying to keep on to the back of Miles Stone, pushing that a little bit harder onto the Ferrari 296 ahead of him. Mayath Musa a little bit further down, and Darius all over the back of him. David Roth hoping to get a little bit of a drag race at the moment to Ruud Heineke. Couldn't quite get it done, and we do see a big mistake coming out there, all of them, and David Roth into the wall. Big impact, huge impact, and that was up against Issam Domingo. Issam Domingo landing up, also spiked into the wall as well. The 31 nowhere in sight. And what on earth happened to him? Let's quickly take a look. Up into fifth gear, into sixth, steering down, late on the brakes. Oh, and a little bit out of shape. Missed his brake marker and thud into the wall, breaking the car. Not ideal situation for him. And unfortunately caught out. And a little bit further back, this was an earlier incident as well. This is the 18 on Paulus getting caught up in a bit of a squabble as well. Trying to carve his way through as it got likes of Paul Fenter off into the dirt, rejoining, and they all landed up at an argy-bargy. Paul Fenter got it in the door as well. So not the best of happenings for a couple of drivers, and unfortunately quite a few getting messed up in the run. Limburg's up against Sosa. Jason Beam and Jason Farmer still running the line astern with likes of Stephen Lawton, James Milestone, Sean Skitter, Mayath Musa, and Darius going and keeping on the back of him. Unfortunately, David Roth and Issam Domingo into pit lane, getting some work done to their cars. Hayter getting a position over Rich Van Heed at the moment under braking, and continues on his charge. Federico Calgero up against Flo Scub at the moment as they continue on their charge to carry on the momentum. Ulrich Diaga not having an easy fight through, has to try and claw his way back up through the order. Henry Platt getting the jump on Ricky at the moment, who keeps it nice and tight, but has Neil all over the back of him. Neil's not going to back down from this fight. Runs out a little bit wide. That Mustang giving chase, and take a look at Daniel Mutsuma in for a fight. A real jar. Chris Wall up on the inside. Lucas Collip looks for a pass as well, and a real jar. Now absolutely being mugged at the moment as we jump on board with the Mercedes in through the right-hander, keeping it tight. You can see Rule Jar doing everything he can to try and stay alive at the moment, pushing that a little bit harder to see if it's going to work out in his favor. On the rear wing, you can see how close Lucas Collab gets under braking, trying to make up that little bit of ground and see where it's all going to work out for him as they continue on the charge. Back up to the top. Limburg's losing track of Rafa. Jason Bean breaking the toe to Jason Farmer. Christoph Peterson seeing the fastest lap time at the moment, continues on his charge and continues to try and run away. But Jason Bean actually sets the fastest lap with 144.1. Remember, 143 was the fastest in qualifying. We're starting to see that in a full race trip, and the drivers pushing that little bit harder. Mayath Musa in the 54 has got Darius behind him and Sean Skitter ahead of him, trying to figure out where he can go, communicating with his team, trying to figure out what can they do to continue on the charge. And a little bit of a moment for Darius. Yeah, to hit the brakes a little bit harder than planned. That is allowed Scott Reynolds to get onto the back of him. We are getting reports that Nico Lawrence getting a little bit of argy-bargy with Sebastian Luxon. And Sebastian in that Lamborghini just checking the back of that McLaren. Loses out a little bit of drive. And David Young having a go at him. Andre Sorodio now trying to go after Nicholas Porras ahead of him. And has got Chris Haneke and Paul Fenter giving chase right behind Paul Fenter. Still carrying a bit of damage on the nose of his car. Trying to pick up some run. He was kicking himself last week for throwing away a podium. Now trying to make it work out in his favor. And we are getting reports, though, that Nico Lawrence and Sebastian Luxon, a little bit of contact between the 24 and the 64. Let's quickly take a look at what happened. Sebastian Luxon in the Lamborghini on screen at the moment has got a little bit of a run to Nico Lawrence, who dives for the inside. It's a left, it's a right, it's a carve through, it's a late break, it's an understeer, and a impact against the nose. Sebastian Luxon missing his brake marker. Unfortunately, Nico Lawrence gets it in the nose. You gotta be so careful. It is turning into a fight left, right, and center, folks, as drivers pushing that a little bit more, starting to take a little bit of liberty against one another. Darius has got Scott Reynolds onto the back of him, along with Rune Heineke has got Michael Castro with a great run around the outside, just not quite having the top end to work his way through the S's. Look towards the inside line, but it is going to be Rune Heineke right through the marbles, late on the brakes, takes the dive. Can he make it work for the inner loop? He does narrowly keep it all together, catches up to Scott Reynolds, and tries once again. Ernest Limburg's losing out to Jason Beam, and now Jason Farmer all over the back of him. It's Limburg's going backwards through the field. Can he carry the momentum to try and get his way back? But Souza currently holds the fast lap time of the race. Now, why I keep stressing about the fast lap time of the race is because if you hold that, you get a single point. And that single point has been the separation for the last 2 championships, has been a single point that has defined the likes of Christoph Peterson. That fastest lap time is what's kept the crown on his head that little bit longer. But will it be lost this time around? Because we started to see a lot of drivers firing back and giving it that hard push. Ricky hoping to keep it all together. He is currently leading out the gold division and has got Finley Campbell trying to close up the gap. He's got Daniel Mutzma for a bit of company, but it is Miles Stone who holds currently first for the Platinum. Scott Reynolds in second, and Henry Platt holds on to third place of our Platinum division. Ricky, Gamble, and Knight currently our top 3 for our gold. Peterson, Souza, and Beam hold on for our top 3 of our Diamond division as we nearly crossing over the 10-minute mark, and so far we have seen all the drama that's gone on thus far, and we start to see the pit stops. Paul Fenter pulling into the pits to get his car sorted out. It's going to cost him a little bit of time, and let's see how it works out here. As we do see Daniel Mutzma up on the inside. Chris Wall tries to put his nose in as well. Finley not wanting to get caught out, keeps it all together on the inner loop. And here comes the Aston Martin of Chris Wall trying to get around the outside. Not enough for run. As Arul Jar also trying to catch up and make a bit of place at the moment. Chris takes a dive for the inside line, losing out a little bit of time here. They're in 2 different classes, but they are still racing for overall track position. As Chris Wall suddenly has a royal jar around the outside, trying to really get the hammer down. Lucas Collop is also joining in the mix as well, hoping that he can be playing a part here to try and move forward a little bit further down. Lewis Knight in a bit of a battle with David Young. Side by side they go, but he's got the outside. Can the Nissan GTR keep the legs? It does, and David Young has to back off. That's allowed Nico Lawrence to catch up and try and show his hand as well. Our drivers keeping on going. 42 cars currently remain. Ulrich Diaga in pit lane, waiting to get his car sorted out after a big impact. Paul Fenter leaving pit lane. David Roth currently out on circuit. Hayter currently out on circuit as well. So trying to just get that all together. Oh, big impact against the wall for Rich Van Eed. Coming a little bit too quick out of the final corner. Caught the wall. And now it's going to be loose, give it a time on that top end. So it's all about how much pace you can go, and we do see a pit stop in for Christoph Rolotsky. Aaron keeping Finn Van Hollen in sight while Flo Scup trying to carry the momentum through. Federico Calgero off very wide in turn 1, losing out 3 positions. Freddie Morelli, Martin Spritzer all getting around him. And Finley Gamble into the wall. Gamble into the wall. What on earth happened to Gamble? Let's quickly go and take a look. Let's go to our helicam for the 2ID team. So, Finley Gamble going that little bit more on pace towards the inner loop. Chris Wall looks for the inside line. Late on the brakes, slings it through. Oh, just as the ref step out underneath him. Not into the wall. Able to save it, but just that snap as he turned in. Little bit too much pace. Unfortunately, not going and having a good run there. Was keeping an eye on Chris. That's cost him a bit of time in this race. Ernest Limburgs catching up to Jason Beam. Has got Jason Farmer on the back of him. Sosa catching up to the likes of Peterson. 1.5 as we do see Paul Fenter minding out of the way for the drivers to come through. He does allow Mahath Musa to get on by, but here comes Ruud Heineke defending against Castro. Castro had to pull out from passing into turn 1 because Fenter was there just minding his business, trying to allow the drivers to come through as they launch on by. Castro up on the inside, gonna give it everything he's got. The Porsche just not having the top end to work out for him. Mahath Musa dealing with Darius as well. Darius tries around the outside. Musa holds on. Scott Reynolds tries everything. And it is going to be Ruud Heineke and Castro once again throwing hands at one another, not backing down from the fight. And everyone pushing that a little bit more to see what is going to be the working order here and where can they find that little bit more room. Neil a little bit further back currently holds on to third of the Platinums. He's just biding his time behind the 2 Diamonds, and he is keeping an eye on Scott Reynolds further up to see if he makes a crucial mistake up against Darius, or having Ruud Heineke going and having a go at him as blue flags are being waved to Paul Fenter as he gets more and more of the field starting to come through. Remember, he has completed his pit stop. Paul Fenter, Hayter, Rolotsky, Roth, all going and getting their pit stops done and dusted. Rolotsky's the last of those that have completed the pit stop. Roth and Ulrich Diaga still yet to complete their pit stop. And there's Ulrich Diaga. We saw an accident earlier. He then had to get towed back to pits. He still needs to do his pit stop, but good to see him back out on the track, pushing that a little bit more, waiting to see it through to the end, especially after a monster impact that we saw at the start of the race. Miles Stone and Stephen Warner James continuing their charge with one another, getting away from Sean Skitter, helping each other with that little bit of a tow. And now it looks like Miles is going to try and pull the trigger. Looks around the outside, has got the momentum. Stephen Warner James does back down from the fight as they head into the inner loop, just not quite having the same pace. Darius around the outside yet again, trying to get past likes of Mahath Musa, not having an easy run there. Scott Reynolds launches up on the inside, can't get the run. And Heineke also on defense, but Musa, who is dealing with a brawl. Darius throwing everything he can with Scott Reynolds hounding him, breathing down the back of the neck at the moment. If Scott Reynolds is talking about global peace, well, he's in a war at the moment to try and get on by. Heineke, Castro, and Neil Cabal all caught into the run. And now Reynolds has got a problem because he looks at his rearview mirror and Neil is in the tow. Now pulling himself along, going that little bit more. Henry Platt keeping an eye on the train ahead, hoping they can keep each other busy that little bit more. Castro looks around Ruud Heineke as much as possible as Neil tries to go around. This is going to be a bit of a tricky one at the moment. Platt ahead of Paul Fenter, who is a lap car at the moment, biding his time. Lindbergh's fastest lap of the race of 44.0 as Heineke got it wrong out of the final corner. Castro's got the run on him, looks towards the inside into turn 1, going with the side draft, He's going to launch it down. Can he get it on the brakes? On the apex, he pauses, waits, and goes. And Ruin Heineke loses out not just one, but two positions as Neil gets a run on him. The Mustang pushing as hard as possible, sweeps across the nose. Heineke loses out the momentum, had to back off through the S's. And what a run from the likes of Neil to get that pass done. But can he now get past Castro, who can get quite defensive when he needs to be? Los Pantos Hermanos is now looking at the Guardian Angel, saying this time, you're not going to have a go. And Kamal losing the likes of Reynolds ahead of him. He knows he needs to get out of this fight as quick as possible as Castro slows the pace down on the cube and waits for his opportunity. Musa still defending the lines, going tight to hold back Darius, who keeps going for the outside line, and then immediately has the likes of Scott Reynolds. A big impact coming into the wall. That is Ruin Heineke into the wall. Broken can be. That is a car that absolutely spat into the wall. What happened to the 169 car? And we're going to try and take a look. This is the 338 that ran into trouble. This is Ricky, who also had a little bit of a moment as well. Dived on the inside, late on the brakes, sends it through, and a little bit of contact on the rear, and does see his own teammate spiked off into the wall. 169. Let's quickly go to our helmet cam and see what happened. In through the right-hander, sees an opportunity, goes out wide, and just has a rear step out. And there's a solid impact against the wall. Not much he could do there, unfortunately, and just had that rear going and kicking out underneath him. David Roth also very, very slow on the run, and trying to keep himself going. Sees the leaders going and gaining a lot of time on him. So that is going to be one to keep an eye out for. Nicholas and Rich Fanine once again brawling with one another. Nicholas going to keep it all together. Richard also trying to carry the momentum through, as he does have one of the McLarens trying to hunt him down. Well, it doesn't look like it is full position either, but Andre Sorodio is going to be right on the back of him. Now, that might be the likes of Christoph Rolotsky. Yes, it is. Los Pantos Hermanos Christoph Rolotsky trying to unlap himself. Sees that Richard's ahead of him, and now sits squarely in between number 15 car of Andre Sorodio and the rest of the field. So he is in a little bit of a precarious position at the moment, trying to figure out what is going to work out for him. Narul Jar also hunting down Chris Wall, looking left, looking right, trying for the inside. No room to get on by just as yet. Sebastian Luxon onto the back of Lucas Collab. Daniel Mutsuma leads out the train as he tries to keep ahead of Chris Wall, but he's also got that Mustang squarely in between them. A back marker that can really help him out at the moment. Daniel trying to go after Ricky, who is right ahead of him. Now, for anyone that is unfamiliar with the blue flag, here in the world of ERA, we follow normal GT rules. It is information only flag. In other words, there is a faster car catching up. Be aware of it. You can't fight them if they're going for the pass, but you don't have to jump out the way. You can hold your racing line. You've got to be predictable, and you've just got to make sure that you're not fighting them on the way through. In other words, if they want the inside, give them the inside. Carry on your way. Well, unfortunately for Daniel, losing a bit of time, and now has the Mustang around the outside. He's also got Chris Wall trying to have a go. And take a look, Chris going out wide. Rule Jar having to really snap around as well. And Lucas Collab trying to split it down the middle. Goes and launches his way through. Really having a tough time out there. Drivers fighting tooth and nail. Hater just coming off the throttle, allowing the cars to come through, but that being said, was playing piggy in the middle a little bit, as we do see the 395 car going and losing a bit of time. That's Neil Cabal and Michael Castro. Looks like the two of them came to blows with one another, and unfortunately that's the 44 that would have been called out in it. So let's quickly take a look and try and see what happened from our handicap. So we have got Neil Cabal out there in the Guardian Angel. Los Pontos Hermanos of Michael Castro absolutely impacted from behind. That's a prostate check, and unfortunately losing out a lot of time. Chris Wall into the pits, trying to get himself sorted out. Mahith Musa keeping up the toe with Darius, who's finally managed to get on by. But what a run for some of our drivers. Unfortunately for others, it's been a night to forget. Lucas Collab into the pits with Chris Wall. They're going to be keeping an eye where they come out, as Cedric Muir is currently that level. He is the bar that you want to keep ahead of, and at the moment he is closing at a rate of knots. So will Chris Wall and Lucas Collab have planned a pit stop to get ahead of them and lead the queue? Flo Scumfin Van Hollen also keeping the run on one another, as Real Jar has lost it and loses out quite a few positions. He does have Hater come on by. The Hater's a blue flag car. Real Jar trying to launch it up on the inside, but not enough grip. You've got to be rather careful. Hater can hold his line, but you got to respect it. If you just come off a circuit, give yourself 3 seconds, focus, recharge, get going, and keep your foot on the throttle. That's the main thing for our drivers at the moment, who are going to make critical errors, but they're going to have to sit down, reset, get themselves going, and think about the strategy going forward. But many of the drivers are already considering that pit stop. And remember, we do have drivers out there at the moment that have still got their success penalties. Peterson, Souza, Limburgs, likes of Neil Cabal, Ricky Beckler, Daniel Munsima, Lewis Knight, Rich Van Heed, all still needing to get some times on board. Michael Castro, unfortunately, getting out of shape and had to get towed back to the pits. The 44 having a nightmare of a race after that little bit of catch. He's got Hater on the back of him, but what went wrong? Carrying the momentum through, runs out wide, clip of the grass. Ooh, just gets it wrong. A real giant tries to avoid, catches a wall, and unfortunately Castro parked in the middle of the circuit, going and landing up, losing time. Lewis Knight, Aaron Shergill in the pits, Andre Sorodio into pit lane as well, as likes of Michael getting himself towed to the pits after that little bit of a snap that has cost him a lot of time. That clip on the rear seems like it has taken a chunk out of his work, as we do see Flo Scub once again with windscreen wiper going absolutely berserk at the moment, trying to wave to the crowd on the way through. Talk about a showman to keep the race going, but he's hoping that Finn Van Hollen will notice it more and more. Nicholas Forrest out there in the Martini colours, trying to get past Nicola Lawrence, and Nicholas tries for the inside line, no room to get on by. They keep an eye ahead of them to see where it goes. Ren Heineke, who will be blue flagged at the moment, keeps an eye on his mirrors. He wants to keep a solid pace at the moment, knowing that he can still make up some time. Just needs to keep it going and keep the run through. He's in 38th position. There is a chance to claw his way up through the order. Currently leading out the charge of those that have done the pit stop, Chris Wall. He leads off that charge with the likes of Cedric Muir right behind him, who is trying to gain that little bit of time. As you see Nicholas trying to go around the outside. Lawrence goes for defense, goes immediately into pit lane, and that is definitely going to bug Nicholas, as suddenly Richard Van Heed onto the back of him. Looks towards the inside line, no room to get on by. Scott Reynolds and Cedric Muir currently fight it out between one another and see where it's going to work out. Cedric in the gold class, Reynolds in platinum. Needs to try and figure out where they're going to go. Daniel Mutzer, Nicola Lawrence, Finn Van Hollen into the pits. They're getting their pit stops out of the way, trying to carry on with the rest of this race with 34 minutes left to go. It's been an hour's race from the start. It's going to have to be a real run through, as we do get reports of Real Jar parked in the middle of nowhere, and from being at the top, he is now battling to get himself going, and unfortunately keeping an eye on that relative. It's just outside the inner loop. Everyone having to go that little bit wide, and it's going to be a 360-point turn. It's going to be an Austin Powers moment to just try and get that Ferrari turn right. Reverses back, gets himself going, but has lost out an ample load of time. And those tires are going to be absolutely finished as he fell down to 25th position and still has got lots and lots of time on the board. Jason Beam across the line, puts fast lap, and he's ahead of Limburgs, along with Jason Farmer a little bit further behind Limburgs at the moment. Limburgs not having an easy time. Short skitter over the back of Stephen Lawler. James Leclerc on the inside. Can the Honda outrun the Ferrari? This is something we don't get to see too often, unfortunately, as it just hasn't got the top end. But can he lean on the brakes a little bit more? Unfortunately not. Steven says not going to happen, and Sean's going to have to behave. He's going to have to wait that little bit longer and wait for his time yet again, but lost out a lot of time through the inner loop and really trying to figure out where he can go. Milestone leads out the Platinum with Platt up into second. Neil Cabal up into third place. Buckler currently holds on to first for the gold, with David Young and Nicholas Porras currently holds on to third place. As we go side by side, that's Van Holland getting a little bit mugged through the corner as likes of Sean Skitter and Stephen Milano James wanted that pass. Freddie Morelli, Paul Scaleris, along with Raul Jar, Federico Calgera, Mon Spritzer, Freddie Morelli all into the pits, and they need to get ahead as Chris Wall comes launching his way through, gaining position after position, overtakes all of them, and still leads out the train of those that have pitted, and he's up to 21st place at the moment. 32 minutes ago, we are so close to the halfway mark, and we start to see those drivers getting a little bit more to get themselves sorted. Jason Beam and Jason Farmer from our top 5 dive into the pits. An interesting run. Sean Skitter follows through as well. That leaves Christoph Peterson and Rafa to go and continue on the charge. Limburgs as well. Miles Stone a little bit further back, but we are seeing a fight with Andre Sorodio, number 15 car, all over the back of Cedric Vera at the moment, and he is pushing himself out a little bit more. Stop go, 30-second penalty for Freddie Morelli, unfortunately speeding in pit lane, and that is going to be absolutely compromising as it'll drop him even further down from the Platinum class. And what a night to forget for him. Unfortunately, coming off the pit limiter a little bit early, gauging second gear, turns the pit limiter off, and it's so easy to do as a big mistake from Cedric. Gets it out of shape, and Sorodio says thank you. Mont says thank you. Nico Lawrence comes charging on by as well. Cedric only just catching the wall ever so slightly, but now needs to try and get a little bit more of tyre life back after that. Remember, he's done his pit stop already. He's got to push that a little bit harder, try and figure out where he's got to get the run, as each of the drivers are doing their absolute best at the moment to see where they go. Jason Beam currently leads out those that have done their pit stop. Jason Farmer, Ricky Buckler is into the pit. Sebastian Luxon's done his pit stop, and Ricky now coming out of the pits has Scott Reynolds and Daniel Muntema overtaking. Question is for Ricky. He's got the hard work to try and keep the momentum at the moment. Chris Heineke is going to be closing the gap. He's currently in 22nd position, second in the gold class that has done their pit stop. Sebastian Lucas and Chris Wall, Daniel Mutsuma are the top 3 that have in platinum. They have done their pit stop. JSP, Jason Farmer, and Sean Skitter are completed with theirs. Steve Villotto, James Milestone, Ernest Lindbergs, and Nicholas Porras pull into the pits, trying to keep themselves going that little bit more. Our leader, Christoph Peterson, and Rafa still keeping the pressure on, and Rafa hasn't broken away out of that 1.5 second mark. Been keeping that pressure on Christoph, waiting, biding his time, and seeing if he could just try and close the distance at the moment. Darius up into third with Mahayef Musa trying to play a little bit of catch up. Henry Platt on his debut outing here in ERA for the season is trying to get that little bit of momentum underneath him. Neil Cabal, David Young and Rich Van Heed all trying to get that final push. Finley Gamble out on the circuit, giving him that hard run as well. His drivers trying to keep up the pace. Only driver a little bit further down in 39th position, Ulrich Diaga, that still needs to do his final pit stop. He is onto the back of his teammate Jason Farmer, just trying to pull himself along at the moment. But our top 9 will make that 8, as we do see Rafa pulling the trigger, and he is into the pits. The question is, has he done enough to keep ahead of Jason Beam? Darius pulls into the pits. Jason Beam is the driver to keep an eye out for. Mahayef Musa into the pits. Is Beam going to be close enough to try to capitalize on this? Has the undercut worked in his favor to get in towards the top? Neil Cabal, for the first time, managing to launch himself up. Holds on to second place, first in the Platinum Division, and is currently holding on to second place at the moment. Trying to really dig deep, trying to go that little bit extra and see if he can open up the run. David Young is going and still keeping the pace. He's up into third place at the moment and leading out his division and wanting to work out in his favor. The question comes in, though, for the rest of the field. Have they done enough to ensure that they got the undercut? Well, Finley Gamble managing to get up into fourth place. He is cruising behind Christoph Orlowski. Jason Beam says no to Rafa, and he's up into fifth. Rafa down. Jason Farmer into sixth. Rafa coming out of pit lane will have Miles Stone keeping him company as they come charging through. And it's only our top 4 yet to pull into the pits. Finley Gamble getting it out of shape, and that is not going to help him out in his run. He does have BMW hunting down at the moment, trying to figure out where to go. And Finley Gamble in fourth place, now needing to figure out what is going to be the run. So quick run through of who's where for each class. For our Diamond is Christoph Peterson currently leading out the charge. Jason Beam in second, with Jason Farmer in third place for our Diamond division. For our Platinum, it's Neil Cabal currently holding on to first place. He has got Miles Stone in eighth, holds on to second place, with Henry Platt holding on to third place. South African hoping to keep the charge going, as we also have Finley Gamble, who is in second place behind David Young for the Gold Division, and Ricky holding on to that third place in the Gold Division. The question is, now Neil into the pits, trying to get his pits up done and dusted. Will lose out as Miles Stone is close enough to retake the lead of the Platinum Division. But the question is Henry Platt going to be close enough to make it work? As we take a look further back, Ricky against Daniel Mutzman, 2 different classes having a go at one another, and Ricky just coming off the throttle, biding his time at the moment. Christoph Peterson leads out the race. Went past both of them. Jason Farmer sets fastest lap time of the race. Ricky, though, going to have a go at Daniel down the inside. Is this going to be a bright move? Nope. Backs out of it, decides, nope, not worth it quite here. Going to try and hold back that a little bit more. Finley Gamble and Neil Cabal into the pits, getting their pit stops done and dusted. Ernest Limburgs onto the back of Stephen Lotta James, as Stephen into 7th, right behind Miles, with Limburgs in 8th from second place. He has just dipped down the order. Hasn't had the easiest run, but Jason Farmer with a 143.910 holds on for the fastest lap time of the race. Peterson into the pits, which leaves only one car out on circuit that is in the fighting order, and that's David Young, who currently leads out the Gold Division. Gamble into the pits, hoping to get ahead of Ricky, and will be going and doing so to try and see if he gets out. So David Young last to pits, as we do see a bit of a moment for Hayter as he mines out of the way. Young comes screeching through. Arulja as well says thank you very much on that one. Peterson into the pits to get his pit stop done and dusted. 24 minutes to go, and still there is lots of action on the cards here at ERA. The drivers having to dig that little bit deeper, trying to see what they can do. And out on the virtual grandstands, it is all going mad for every single one of the drivers. The support going out there is absolutely incredible. Like I said, thank you very, very much to all our incredible fans on going and supporting the drivers. It is definitely noticed. Jason Beam currently leads out the race, and Jason Farmer into second. Rafa Souza up into third. Milestone. Christoph Peterson was hoping the overcut was going to work out in his favor with that 50-second penalty he had to serve, but he is down into 10th. Christoph Peterson is down into 10th and now going to be losing a lot of time. Beam will be taking lead of the race with Jason Farmer in second and Rafa into third. Lindbergh's pushing to get past Stephen Milano James, who goes for the inside of Milestone. He gets a pass done. Miles backed out. He was not happy with that pass. He had to wait it out. Lindbergh's up on the inside, says thank you very much. Miles comes off and just bides his time. He's like going and saying, listen guys, I'm leading my class right now. Platts is a little bit further behind, and so is Sebastian Luxon, but you guys are taking some real big risks on me. Rather let you go and rather see where it goes from there. Ricky a little bit further down onto the back of Daniel Mutsuma, holds on to the lead for the gold division. Has got Nicholas trying to chase him down. David Young slows the pace down into pit lane. Has he done enough to keep ahead of Ricky at the moment? Beam will be taking over the lead of the race with Jason Farmer on the back of him, and Farmer hoping to push that a little bit more, trying to see if he can really get underneath the gearbox of that Aston Martin. And you might sound a bit weird for saying it's the gearbox, but yes, these cars, the gearbox is actually in the boot of the front engines as they try to go and get that weight distribution right. So the gearbox is towards the rear of the car, and that's to try and centralize the entire mechanics. The more you know about the world of GT3 racing. Ernest Lindbergh's all over the back of Stephen Milano James at the moment, and in closing for that top 5. Milestone dealing with Sean Skitter at the moment, trying to hunt his way by. Skitter keeps right underneath Milestone, looks towards the inside. Can he get the pass to work out in his favor? Has Darius trying to close up at a red knot. The little Honda carries the momentum through. Quick snap in through the inner loop. Miles loses a little bit of time. Darius trying to go past him. Fortunately, not enough room for him to get it done and dusted. We'll have to wait out yet again. Oh, and that is Sean Skitter into the wall. He lost the rear, and now having to try and get the momentum back immediately as Christoph nailing on by. Tries to go for the undercut, couldn't get it done, and that is a loss for him. Jason Farmer looks towards the inside of Beam and can't get the running all the way through. So quick run through of who is where in each class as we got 20 minutes to go. It is Jason Beam and Jason Farmer fighting out for first and second, with Rafa Sosa currently holding on to third place. It is Milestone holding on for third, so the Platinum have Henry Platt in second, Sebastian Luxon into third. Ricky Backler is currently holding on to first for the gold. David Young in second, and Nicholas Porras currently holds on to third place. Close going fight at the moment. Farmer and Beam continue to push each other that little bit more, and Ernest Lindbergh sets a faster lap time in the race and closes on to Stephen Milano James. So he takes that point yet again away from the front end of the field and is hoping to hold on to that a little bit longer during the course of this race. But Stephen Milano James is really giving him a good workout through the S's. Darius trying to get the run on Milestone now, trying to see where he can get the momentum as Miles holds his pace, just not losing a little bit of time. He knows if he lifts too much, he's going to fall into the clutches of Henry Platt, who's not too far behind. Christoph Peterson trying to claw his way back into the front end fight after taking a late gamble. Hope to work out for him. Sean Skitter goes out wide. Mike Musa says thank you very much, and immediately take a look at the few of the bonus drivers also picking up the pieces of Sean Skitter. There's David Roth. It's busy trying everything he can. Henry Platt will also look to try and go after. He's sick behind Sean Skitter with Roth right up the gearbox and trying to figure out how on earth can he get on by. Neil Cabal all over the back of Chris Wall, and Wall is having a tough time out there to hold on to the likes of fourth place at the moment. And Neil looks for the inside, second guessed it though, wasn't fully committed to the line, but is going to try his best. Chris Wall going and losing out the drive as there's a drag race amongst the two V8s as they boot it down the back straight. Mercedes engine in the Aston Martin and a brute force Ford as they come through. And it is going to be that Coyote motor, that 5-litre GT3 V8 made by Ford, going and having a great time towards the front end. And Chris Wall slips in behind the gearbox and bides his time. See if he could go for the pass. 18 minutes left to go, and it's still a fight for the lead. And at the moment, Farmer and Beam are brawling it between one another. Slowly but surely, Rafa starting to close in on the two of them as well, trying to see where he can get on by. Darius getting past Miles Stone, who eventually lifted off that little bit, allowed him to come on by. And saying, listen, I'm not going to fight with you. Different class to me. I'm focusing on Platt, who's a little bit further behind. As our drivers counting down the laps at the moment. Farmer look to the inside, can't get past Beam at the moment. The two Jasons having a go at one another. Rafa closing down to 2.8 seconds behind them through the braking, losing out through this outer loop here and just not having the run. And Jason Farmer yet again tight inside line. He's looking for that apex on Jason Beam, who's not giving him an edge, running out a little bit wide, gets close to the wall, and now it's going to be in the toe. Can Farmer really get that last push on to the back of the Aston Martin? Then is late on the brakes for Jason Beam into turn one. Carries a lot of drive, both not coming off the curb very quickly there. They're holding down the middle. The reason why is the cars are bottoming out. Last thing you want to do, make a sudden move and get it to rotate quite a bit. Remember, those wheels aren't completely connected to the ground at that point. You do have the bottom of the car really riding up high. You've got to be so careful not to lose that little bit of pace. So jump on board with Jason Farmer going after the lead of the race. Peterson gains a position over Miles Stone. Miles Musa will be the next one to try and charge after. But it is Beam, Farmer and Sosa who are currently at the top of the log. Limburgs holds on to the fastest lap time of the race with Steve Milano, James Darius and Christoph Peterson trying to close up the gap between them as they continue on the charge. Will this be Farmer's opportunity? He's never taken a win here in ERA. Can he make it happen here at Watkins Glen? Will Jason Beam on his debut season be able to take a victory here? This is going to be a proper run to the line. And as Michael Hansen was saying, take him down the straight, go for the corners, do anything you can for Farmer. But Beam has got every single answer at the moment. He is ensuring to make that Aston Martin wide enough to make sure that Jason Farmer has nowhere to go through the apexes. He's able to slow it down just enough to make it work out in his favor. As we do get reports that there has been contact between Ricky and Daniel Mutsuma. Ernest Lindbergh sets the fast lap time of the race, but that gets taken away by Christoph Peterson with a 1:43.5. Peterson retakes the fastest lap time of the race and continues to show his fist in the championship, saying, listen guys, I'm not backing down from this fight. Let's quickly take a look at what happened to Ricky and Daniel Mutsuma at this point. As Ricky's a gold driver, Daniel is a platinum. Two different classes here, but Ricky has obviously got a little bit more worry. He doesn't want to lose too much pace. He dives up the inside. Oh, bit of contact there as Daniel Mutsuma tried to turn in for the corner and just had nowhere to go. Unfortunately, a bit of impact as Farmer once again looks for the inside line. Jason Beam keeps it solid at the moment, but these two are going to be so careful right now, and they will have their engineers talking to them, trying to inform them that likes of Rafa has gone from 3.8 down to 2 seconds as Jason Farmer up on the inside. Can he get to drive on Jason Beam, who will have the inside for the left-hander? Beam tries to keep it all together. Farmer goes out wide. Who's first on the throttle as Farmer goes out wide and just could not get the drive. He goes for the inside through the left-hander. Couldn't get it done. And Jason Beam coming back and answering, firing on all cylinders. Peterson dives down the inside of Darius, but loses out the momentum. He's going to wait that little bit more. Darius keeps an eye on Stephen Milano, James, as they continue to brawl it on. This is turning into a fight, but our top three are now within a second and a half of one another. Jason Farmer, 13 minutes to go. Jason Beam looking to take his first ever win here in ERA in his debut season. Farmer, who's been going at it over and over and over to try and get a victory. Will this be his night? Coming in from South Africa, all the way to America, all the way to Watkins, Glen. The snow's on the other side of Watkins, and it's all on for this race. 28 degrees, and it's got to be a chase of note as Farmer cannot get past. But there is Rafa. That Nissan GTR is looming in the wings, waiting for his opportune moment. Farmer tries to go around the outside. Beam goes back at him to hold the apex, and they're starting to catch up to some back markers as well. This is gonna get hairy, folks, as we do see Farmer trying to bait and switch at the moment, but Beam is not having it. He's focused, laser focused on what needs to be done. Farmer needs to go for the pass if he wants to get it done. No bait and switch. Brute force it at this point. Beam moves to center of circuit. Farmer tries to go through. He's up, backing down, elbow to elbow. They go. Contact into the final corner. Beam continues on. Farmer rubbing doors. And there is Rafa on the back of them. The Jasons have cost themselves the drive. Limburgs is in the wings as well. Farmer down the inside tries to defend. Rafa says, listen, I'm here to play. And 2.3 seconds off the back of him is Ernest Limburgs, who continues on the chase. Christoph cannot get past Darius, who fights him off again. Stephen Milano James is the bottle cap there. He is the cork in the bottle to make it happen. And this is where it goes as it's late on the brakes. Rafa gets the pass on Jason Farmer. Farmer's off into the dirt. Can he keep it all together? Slides it out. He narrowly loses it. But what a drive. Rafa into second. Jason into third, trying to pick up the pieces. And Limburgs comes back at him. Stephen Milano James holds back Darius that little bit more. Christoph Peterson has a go. Farmer 1.5 seconds off the back of Rafa with 10 minutes left in the running. It is gonna be a proper run for the lead. It is going to be a four-way battle, I would think, because Beam is not running away right now. Rafa is not holding back. Neither is Farmer, neither is Limburgs. They are giving it that last-ditch effort, and Limburgs now is currently 0.5. He's all over the back of Jason Farmer. Farmer caved to the pressure, that contact between them, and Rafa immediately took the run and said, listen, I'm here to play, folks. I'm here to show what I can. Now it is time for Farmer to get his head squared back in to try and see if he can catch up to the Nissan GTR that just clipped the wall on the exit. Limburgs has his chance now. Milestone still leads out in the Platinum class with Henry Platt and Sebastian Luxon currently holding second and third in the Platinum. Ricky Buckley holds on to the lead for the gold with David Young, Finley Gamble having a go, and Jason Farmer now closed up on Rafa, 0.8 of a second. He's dialed up into the wick with Rafa a little bit off the back of Jason Beam, who's finally starting to break the gap at the moment. Is this going to be enough with 9 minutes to go? Is the tires going to hold out that little bit more? But they do have a BMW a little bit up the road from them that they have to keep an eye out for. That may be the cork in the bottle for our leaders. It's going to be blue flags, but the question is Is the blue flag going to play nice? Christoph Peterson all over the back of Steve Milano. James Darius loses out through the inner loop as he tries to make his time. Back up through the order. Darius right up the gearbox of Christoph Peterson. Cannot get on by just as yet. Neil Cabal going and fighting it out with Sebastian Luxon. They are absolutely going it for third place in the Platinum, and it's going to be side by side through the inner loop. Oh my heavens, can they get it done? What a move for Sebastian Luxon around the outside. Holds back Neil Cabal, but only just at that point. And what a run. What a note. What a charge. Down to the wire they go. Neil not backing down. Wants this third place. Sebastian is in the running for the podium. But let's go back up to the top. That is contact. Jason Farmer and Limburg's contact between the two. And what a catch into the wall. Farmer into the wall. The 919 into the wall. Can he fire the car back up? Let's quickly take a look at what happened there. So he was all over the back of Rafa. He was right up his gearbox. Looks here for the inside line, and then it's under braking, and there's the contact with Limburgs. And, Jason Farmer spins the wheel around, but was not on the anchors there, and gets back to pit. So he's opted not to continue the fight, and rather to park the car. No, Farmer, no, don't do that, buddy. See it through to the end. As we do see Stephen Milano, James goes off circuit, and that is going to be Christoph Peterson around the outside with Darius coming back at him. And the contact did take him out of the running, but come on, you can't go and just miss out the flag. You fought that hard, and yes, it was not what you wanted. It's not the race you wanted, but if you've seen the green, you gotta see the checkered, buddy. There's points on the line. And unfortunately, we got to see a bit of heartache coming in with that contact and throwing him around. But that being said, what has brought into the fight is Rafa having a shot at Jason Beam. The two of them are going to fight it out for first place now. Sosa, who is going to be really hunting down Beam. They have got a back mark in front of him. That's going to be one to keep an eye out for. Limburgs miles off the pack, and Jason Beam is going to be taking a big swipe over his forehead, going whew, as he has got a little bit more room to play with, not getting felled up too much. Rafa is going to be definitely gritting his teeth now to try and close the distance to go that little bit more. And we are getting further reports. That's Chris Heineke and Lucas Collab caught into the wall. The 37 and the 47, unfortunately, running into one another. Let's quickly take a look. Lucas Collab getting ahead of Chris Heineke, heading into the inner loop. And Heineke looks up on the inside, late on the brake, takes a swing in. Collab, unfortunately, Heineke loses it straight. Collab going and becoming a passenger, and the two of them into the wall. No room to go. Both taking a bit of damage. Heineke clipped the curb and absolutely ate it. Unfortunately, Collab became that little knock into the wall. Christoph Rolotsky onto the back of Hayter at the moment, trying to push that a little bit more. Jason Farmer still in pit lane. Can they get that car back out onto the circuit? That is going to be the question, as Ruud Heineke, who was part of an earlier accident, still managing to keep it going with Flo Scum just ahead of him. Nico Lawrence also trying to stretch his legs at the moment as they push on to go that little bit more. Darius and Stimulon and James keep the pressure on, but it is going to be between these two at the moment that have yet to take a victory here in ERA. Both making their debut this season here at ERA Sunday Championship. But Jason Beam and Rafa are pushing harder and harder. Lindbergs, who's running out a little bit wider, tries to keep himself going. Chris Wall and Scott Reynolds, a little bit of elbow to elbow rub between the two of them as they are showing no love. The British and the American are absolutely showing who is going to keep in for the fight that little bit more. Neil fighting out for third place against Sebastian Lutzen, who is not backing down in the fight. Ricky Beckler, along with David Young and Finley Gamble, still push a little bit harder. The drivers figuring out where can they go at the moment. How far are they willing to go? But look on the inside. Rafa gets the pass on Jason Beam and now takes over the lead of the race. But the question is, can he hold on? 4 minutes left in the bag for the two of them as they continue to try and figure out what is going to be the big run here. Jason Beam down into second, absolutely sweating at the moment. And it is going to be Scott Reynolds with Chris Wall all over the back of him. Henry Platt into 10th place. I do want to report is currently also joined in on comms in the commentary box, well fighting out for second place, and he's absolutely mad on that one to decide that he wants to do it. But this is going to be a big look for Scott Reynolds. Looks on the inside of Chris Wall, couldn't get the pass done, and Ricky is now caught up onto the back of him. They are going to keep up the fight. Scott Reynolds is not wanting to lose out of Chris Wall, and he is absolutely hounding him at the moment. Darius all over the back of Stephen Milano James. We have got fights up and down through the field. Everyone still giving it everything they can. Ruth Heineke ahead of Nico Lawrence and Federico Galgero at the moment as they continue on the charge. Flowscap and Jace Farmer into pit lane. They are into the pits, and with Jason Farmer yet to go back out with 3 minutes to go, he's thrown in the towel and has decided that is that. Flow into the pits as well with a bit of damage on his car as, a little bit of sideways action coming in from Calgero and Nico Lawrence still side by side. They go both costing each other a bit of time there, and Nico Lawrence getting the better of it. Lewis Knight all over the back of Finn Van Holland at the moment, trying to figure out where he can get a little bit more drive underneath him. Scott Reynolds and Chris Wall still yet their battle continues. Darius and Stephen Milano James. Jason Beam loses out to Rafa. Now has Ernest Lindbergs. 2 minutes to go in this race. Lindbergs looking at second place, hunting down Rafa, caught behind Christoph Rolotsky and Hayter at the moment. And Stephen Milano James into the dirt through the inner loop. Darius Miles and Myers Musa all say thank you very much. They continue on the charge. Rafa caught up behind Rolotsky. No room to get on by. Hunts the inside line. Jason Beam and Lindbergs immediately get onto the back of him. Hayter looking to continue on. This is going to be a little bit of a nightmare situation as Jason Beam looks to the inside. Lindbergs tries to also see where he can capitalize. Rolotsky moves out of the way. He sees all three out, first, second, and third, all on the back of one another. Sosa still leads on at the moment with Jason Beam and the likes of Lindbergs in third place. Can Ernest Lindbergs take over the lead of the race after the contact with Jason Farmer? He lost a lot of time, but now he has an opportunity to put himself square on top of the podium. Hayter moves out the way. Sosa now leads on, trying to do everything he can, and in the background, 3.9 seconds, 1 lap to go. It is all a late charge run for the rest of the field. Scott Reynolds trying to keep it alive. Ricky looking to go underneath him. Chris Wall trying to do everything he can. Ricky leads on for the gold division and has got second place on the back of him, and that is unfortunately David Roth pointing the wrong way as well. Turn round and looking at the front, Hayter and Rolotsky. Oh, elbow to elbow, big contact between the two. Hayter stops dead in the circuit, and that was a near miss for the likes of Peterson. Darius splits it down the middle. Hayter was just trying to be the nice guy in the mix there. Unfortunately, stopping dead in the middle of the circuit in the inner loop is going to be one to catch out. But what a run through. What a charge. What a charge through. And they will have to push. I do want to point out Jason Farmer is out on circuit with our leaders on the back of him, so you will see the checkered flag. That is phenomenal to see. Thank you very much, Jason Farmer. But now Sosa will see him looking to try and clear on. Jason Beam defends against Lindbergs. Lindbergs trying to go around the outside. Beam holds the inside line, and Jason Beam not backing out of it. Farmer on the inside looks towards the top three where he once was, but he will see the check flag through. Lindberg's trying to throw around the outside. He loses the rear. He comes back. Farmer swings around the outside of him, but that is it. Leader and finishes first time on the podium for first place. Rafa Sosa, Jason Beam, And Limburgs takes third. Oh, Rolotsky into the wall. He gets pipped by Hater right at the line. Christoph Peterson, Darius all make their way through. Milestone takes the victory for the Platinum Division, with Henry Platt taking the second place, and Sebastian Lucasen will take over third in the Platinum Division. Ricky will come across the line, currently taking the win in the Gold Division, and right on his tail, 0.8 of a second, David Young threw everything he could to try come back. He will take second place, with Finley Gamble taking third in the Gold Division. What a race, folks. What a drive. And my heavens, if you want to talk about drama, well, we got to see it all here tonight, here at ERA. There was highs, there was lows, there was chaos, and man, oh man, what a race we had right through to the line. Finn Van Island and Lewis Knight still challenging each other down to the wire for the Gold Division. And what a drive on their part. Paul Fenter into 26th position. Unfortunately, not his night tonight, and will be thinking about what needs to be done going forward yet again. What a race, what a drive, and what a happening for our competitors. And that was that. Round 2 done, dusted, completed here at ERA. And man, oh man, what a race it was. Each of the drivers giving it their absolute all down to the wire, and really had to push that little bit more to see themselves through to the end. The question is, what is going to happen behind closed doors for the steward's office? That is going to be the next one to keep an eye out for. But with that being said, we have seen 2 debut drivers this season take over the win here at Watkins Glen, and that is Sosa and Beam taking first and second on their debut season. And what a drive it has been on their part to go and battle it out. Likes of Ernest Lindbergh's taking a provisional third place after a massive fight, and Christoph Peterson, after fighting his way back from 10th position after taking a late gamble pit stop, was able to finish up in 4th place. With that being said, though, we're going to try and have a chat to each of our drivers in the different classes and get their take on the race, and also see how they're feeling after a very tricky day here at Watkins Glen. So showing off a little bit of highlights as well, because man, oh man, we've got to talk about those amazing races. And we originally had Henry Platt come and have a chat to us, but unfortunately he left. And well, unfortunately that is one of the drivers who we wanted to talk to, not here in the commentary box. We're going to wait for Jason Beam and Souza to come on by as well, along with Ernest Limburgs to come and have a chat to us from our Diamond Division. And we also like to have a chat to Milestone, Henry Platt and Sebastian Lucasen on their run to the line in the Platinum. Ricky to come and have a chat to us, David Young, and the likes of Finley Gamble as well from our Gold Division. So hopefully we're going to get those drivers to come and have a chat to us after their amazing race. But folks, it has been a wild one. And I don't know about you, that kept me standing till the very end. And I've got to take my hats off to a couple of drivers that, despite the incidents, despite some major damage to their car, they were still able to see it through to the line. If you see the green, you got to see the checkered. That is the motto we live by in the world of sim racing. And it's good to see a couple of drivers doing that despite things going wrong. It's all about what you can do to give yourself that final charge through. So hopefully we're going to have a couple of drivers having a chat to us, and we do have third place of our amazing Platinum Division. Let's have a chat to Sebastian Lucasen in the Lamborghini. Sebastian, welcome to the commentary box. And man, oh man, what a race you had fighting it out left, right, and center, even down to the wire, buddy. How are you feeling after that here at Watkins, Glen?
Exhausted. I am mentally drained, and yeah.
Sebastian, you're a little bit away from your mic.
Oh no, sorry. There we go.
So we're just trying to get Sebastian Luxon wired up. It sounds like Sebastian, sounds like you're talking through one mic and you're getting another.
Oh shit, oh I see.
There we go. Now we can hear you. Sebastian, how are you feeling after that? That was a race and a half.
Yeah, as I was saying, I'm really tired right now. I'm sweaty, I'm exhausted, I'm overheating. And that was a lot of pressure, especially from the Ford at the end, so crazy race.
Take us through, because you were middle of the grid and had to fight your way through. It did look like a bit of chaos ahead of you. Take us through that start of the race and what you did to try and stay alive.
Well, I ended up in a bit of pickle. I banked on a single lap in qualifying and just going out at the end to get a grip advantage. So yeah, that didn't really work out. I started pretty far down, so it's just, you know, somebody might overtake you around the outside. It's just the attitude of, yeah, do that. I'm just trying to survive here the first lap, and I even said that loudly. I was on stream, so yeah, it was survival the first lap.
And let's go through. I mean, you had Neil Caval all over your gearbox, chasing you down. How was it with that pressure? Because it looked like it was, well, if he dived right, you went left. It just to try and fight it out. You both had each other's number. That fight all the way through to the end, and eventually to break that gap at the end just to get that breather for the last lap. I mean, take us through that. We've seen you in some fights, but that's been the closest thus far.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I saw him. I saw the pace behind. So I did know that, oh man, here comes a Ford, and he's very fast. So yeah, I was anticipating it a bit, but oh my God, it was hard to keep my head cool and not make any mistakes, not drive in my mirror a lot, but just like do your lines and concentrate and yeah, at the end when I got that final run through the chicane with him, and he lost a second to me, I was so relieved. I looked up, there was only some minutes left, and I was just, I just need to drive home, and that's all I need to do. All the hard part, the hard part is over, and I need to finish. So, yeah, crazy. I have to message him because that was awesome. It was also really fun.
Absolutely great stuff. And now looking forward to the future, looking towards round 3, what's your plan?
Oh, could you say that? What's you cut out?
Looking towards round 3, what's your plan after managing to lock on to the 3rd place here in the Platinum Division? What's your plan for round 3?
Just grind this circuit out. Yeah, just grind it out. It's I really like it, but it's a track I need to. I need a rhythm. I know that, so I need to have a lot of laps. And I also have another race in another league, same place and everything, just the Wednesday afterwards. So yeah, I'm only doing Suzuka the next week, that's for sure.
And before I let you go to enjoy the celebrations after going and securing that 3rd place, anything you would like to say to any of our admins, to any of our partners here at ERA, and most importantly to the drivers, the teams, and our incredible virtual grandstands that have been cheering and standing on their feet right to the end?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, I want to say to the admins, or definitely stewards, please don't be too hard on me because I might be getting a penalty. I'll tell you the truth. So maybe this interview will be not for podium, but I'll be moved down a bit. So please. And secondly, like, thank you guys for a nice race. It's really nice to see the grid so packed and just so much interest around it. So yeah, it's really great rocking up here on a Sunday, having a massive grid and having a lot of buzz around it. Amazing. So like, thank you everybody, and remember, as always, take care of your mental health. It's important.
Absolutely. Sebastian Luxon out in the Lamborghini, getting third place in the Platinums and having a great drive. Talking about our Platinum division and drivers that really fought it out. Now, we are missing second place, and that is Henry Platt, who sat listening to me the whole time, and I see him out in the virtual grandstand celebrating. But let's bring in first place of our Platinums. Let's have a chat to Miles Stone. Miles, congratulations, but it looks like you were in a race of your own in the Platinum class, but fighting out with the Diamonds. How are you feeling after taking the victory here at Watkins Glen?
Oh man, feels amazing. It's actually my first Plat win, like outright, in 2-3 seasons, 2.5 seasons technically, and it feels amazing, honestly. I had the pace. I did a lot of laps before Watkins. I knew before in Watkins as well. I had like good performances in the Aston a few seasons ago, where I qualified again P5, P6 around that, and try to replicate it as much as good as I can. Qualifying helped a lot. I had luckily Skirt was my biggest rival last time as well. Last time he won at pole and won with the pole and fastest lap. So this race, when I saw him train and get on the server, I was like, that's the man I need to fight. And luckily in quali, I had 3-4 cars between me, 3-4 diamonds between me and him at the start. So I had a much chiller start. Then from then I just tried to keep the position and stay in between the diamonds so that I have a gap between. I just kept the gap.
Well, it was an absolute charge of note. And let's talk about that qualifying time. Were you expecting to get such a quick one? Because you definitely got a raised eyebrow of our Diamond division by putting in that time. What was your thoughts when suddenly, hey, Chick managed to fight it out into the top 10 with a superb lap time?
Quali pace in Watkins. Usually I'm really nice in quali trim, because I remember as well, like last time when we were here in quali, I did an amazing pace. And this race, I could have, I think, maybe gotten a bit more positions, because on my actual lap, I made a mistake in like 2 corners, the right-hander uphill, and in the last sector, the last 2 corners, the left and right, I had a bit of a oopsie, which actually lost me like a 10th or 2. Maybe it would have cost me a position or 2. I don't know. I don't remember. But I think it also helped, or actually it didn't help, that we had some more grip progression this quali. So the later you were on the track, the more grip you had. But also still people try to do their best with the grip they have. And I really was satisfied with the position, even though it was not maximized with my quali lap in practice, because in practice I remember I had very hot blistering times, but still it worked out in the end, so I'm satisfied.
Now, we did see you get in a little bit of a precarious situation during the course of the race when the Diamonds were hunting you left, right, and center, and we saw you eventually lifting a little bit. Was there any concern of, well, maybe it's not worth fighting our Diamond division and just try and protect your own race, or was it just trying to keep up the pace through towards the end?
I was on a alternative strategy, because what I noticed most people around me did were starting on old tires. But I started on new tires because I wanted a bit more grip at the start, maybe to keep it, as I said, like I put it up there, so I wanted to keep it at least for the first stint, keep it up there. If I have the new tires, they're crisp, I can keep up, or I try to not to be a roadblock so that I don't fall back to around people that are gonna fight me. So I try to just keep it really nice and smooth at the start. So then I choose who I fight and who I don't fight. And at the start, I am thanking, by the way, Molano James. He was on used tires, so I was behind him for like 3-4 laps. I lost a bit time, and then I realized he's on old tires and I'm on new. His tires were given in. I let him by, and I flashed him, and he let me by actually on my new tire stint. So in the second stint, it was the other way around. Now Molano was behind me with the new tires, and I was on the old tires. So I just tried to give back the favor he gave to me first stint, which I really appreciated. Helped both of us with our races, creating gaps. And I think that's what was happening in the end as well. I was on worn tires, and the diamonds all were on new tires behind me. So when they came in behind, I was assessing how much faster they are than me, and usually they were faster. So I didn't really fight because I didn't see a point. But I think Musa was at the end with like 2 laps coming behind fast, and I was actually planning to fight him if he ever got near me because there was not a lot in the race left. But thankfully I didn't even have to fight. Had a nice gap at the end.
Well, it was an epic one of note. Before I let you go to enjoy the celebrations with the team, anything you would like to say to our admin, to all the stewards, to the drivers, to the teams, and most importantly, our amazing fans out there in the virtual grandstands that were cheering you on, cheering the drivers on, and definitely having heart in mouth moments.
Honestly, as always, we're always going to thank the admins, the staff, the stewards, especially the coaches, all putting in time and putting their effort in the league. But in the end, the fans, the people watching, and the people driving on track week after week, we see the people. It's really nice. It's really satisfying that you see so many people just week after week. They put the effort in, they practice, they actually try to get better and do their best, so that during the race they put on a show and they do their best. And week after week, stuff happen during races, crashes happen, and some issues happen, but people always just kept being loyal and show up. I really appreciate that. We had plus more than 80 drivers today, with 40, 46 in server 1 and around 42 in server 2, so almost 90 people. I think it's great that 90 people just week after week show up in the practice sessions, interact with each other, chat around, have fun together, and on Sunday and Thursday as well, people show up and put on a good show, and I really appreciate that. It makes this game much greater and this sim much better to enjoy.
It is absolutely great. Mars, thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations on taking victory for your class, and we look forward to seeing you at Suzuka coming up next week.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you again.
Milestone coming in and having a great chat to us. Absolutely wonderful, wonderful stuff. But folks, it has been an exciting evening full of action, and it is not done just yet. Next week, we're going to be heading over to Suzuka to have a bit of fun, and our drivers will be laying it all on the line. But keep an eye out. We may have a bit of a switch as we head into the dusk for our racing. And we want to keep an eye out on all the action. Head over to our Discord here at ERA, down in the description. Make sure you hit the subscribe button as well. We've got plenty of action coming through. Thursday, we got some racing. So if you want to go join in with some ACC action, we have got some racing on a Thursday. We also have got coaching sessions throughout the week. And it doesn't matter if you are new to the world of sim racing, if you are old sim racing, it's always worth to share a bit of knowledge and ensure that you can keep moving forward. We'd like to say thank you very much to all our admin, to all our stewards, everyone helping out in the background, making it happen. Big thank you to the drivers and teams for all the hard work and being a part of the show. But also congratulations to our winners in all 3 classes on a stellar run. And most importantly, I've got to say a big thank you from Jim, from Tim, to you, the fans, that absolutely keep us fueled, keep us going, keep us pushing, and keep charging to newer and newer heights here at ERA. And we look forward to seeing you at Suzuka next weekend ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, like always, and say it with me, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, everybody, around the world, here, there, and right here at ERA.